Hey, we're back with the High School Gridiron Report for the Miami Herald. I'm Manny Navarro, joined, of course, by my comrade here, Andre C. Fernandez, the high school sports writer here on the beautiful campus of Coral Gables High School. And Andre, regular season's getting underway this week. Let's talk about the first game, actually, of the week, Sunset and South Miami. Let's put you on the spot there.
All right, put me on the spot then. I know Sunset has a new coach, Joey Patisco, one of their alums, came back and is going to try and rebuild over there. They've had a couple tough seasons, but I think it's going to be tough sledding in the early going. South Miami's not a bad team. They were in a tiebreaker last year against this school, Coral Gables, that they missed out on the playoffs just barely. I think the Cobras will be fine for the first week.
All right, the game everybody is talking about just because of the history of these two teams. St. Thomas Aquinas taking on Miami Northwestern. This is a game Saturday night at Sun Life Stadium. Tremendous setting. TV is going to be there. 7-time state champion Raiders, 4-time state champion Northwestern Bulls. Bulls, though, didn't look good last week in the preseason.
No, offense has been a struggle so far for them. I mean, even in the spring when they played Cocoa, they couldn't generate a lot of points. And the biggest thing, I think, is Darius Tice's absence. I think he gave them a big spark in the running game last year. I mean, if they can find some offense, they can hang with Aquinas, and I think they will for a little bit because of their defense. You know, that talented group, Mike Smith leading the way. You know, that's the respect I give them, that I think they can disrupt, especially being week one where Wade Freebeck is still kind of getting acclimated to the offense a little bit. Although he did look good in the preseason. I think Northwestern hangs in there for a while, but those horses up front for Aquinas, I mean, they're so tough to get through, so hard to stop. They wear you down, and I think it'll be similar to last year when they just wore down Columbus and beat them there.
So you're picking?
St. Thomas.
All right, I'm as well picking St. Thomas. I think Northwestern is going to be a good team this year. They just have to grow a little bit, let those young offensive players mature. All right, another game. We're actually going to talk about some of these games on Friday night. Let's start off with the game here involving the team here.
Yeah, Coral Gables is starting at Southridge. You know, it's a good contest, especially for a team like Coral Gables. The hometown team here, Cavaliers, under Roger Pollard, they made some strides last year. Got in the playoffs with an ugly record at 3-7 at the time. Ended up 4-8, but they scored a big win against NMB that gave them some confidence. I think Greg Howell and those guys are going to have a pretty good year. The record's going to look better. They might be a playoff team again. And I think they're going to start off because Southridge, after losing Lamont Green, a lot of kids transferred out.
A lot of turnover.
A lot of turnover. Coach McKnight down there has a little bit of rebuilding to do, and I think that Gables pulls out a close one this week.
Speaking of NMB, they got a big game against Jackson this week, Thursday night. That's actually the best game on Thursday night if you're going to go out to a game. Who are you taking there?
I mean, it's a good one. I like the fact that NMB is still strong enough to win that district, but Jackson has the best player on the field, and that's Quentin Flowers, and I think he's got kind of like that it factor, game-changing ability. I think Flowers helps the Generals pull it out.
Maybe the second biggest game of the week, maybe the biggest game, to be honest. Central at American Heritage. Woof. Talk about a battle of great running backs in that one.
Yeah, I mean, the name game is obviously Northwestern Aquinas, but Central Heritage, you talk about speed in that game. I wrote it in my column today. There's going to be tons left and right. The backfield, obviously, is the highlight. To see Yerby and Cook go up against McKenzie and Sony, I think it's going to be a close game for a while, but just like the Aquinas game, I think Central with Yerby and Cook and that offensive line, and be careful the defense doesn't make a few plays down the stretch that decide the game. They're talented, and I don't think they're going to start off slow like they did last season.
Well, I'm taking Central.
Me too.
All right, one more game to talk about. Carroll City, Killian. Talk about teams with tradition. Both of them state championship winners. Who do you like in this game?
We remember 03 and 04 when they met 2 years in a row in the playoffs in the state semis. I mean, both teams aren't at that level yet, but they're working to get there. Killian, third-round team last year, did a lot. They lost a lot, though. They still have some special playmakers that'll make this a good game. And I think I've underrated the Cougars a little bit because of those losses. I think they're going to make a run eventually. But Carroll City looked really good against BA. They looked good in the spring. I think Aubrey Hill's doing a good job, and I think they get the week one victory.
All right, one more bonus game. This is in Broward County, maybe the best game in Broward.
Plantation Dillard.
Plantation Dillard. You read my mind.
I knew it. You had to, because those teams, I saw Plantation last week against a pretty good Columbus team, just handle that offense. You know, they limited Columbus's first team offense to 3 points. Later on, I know they mixed in a lot of backups here and there, but you could tell Plantation's going to be able to run the football real well. Dillard, much improved. You know that. You saw them in the offseason. That team has made tremendous strides with Lorenzo Davis coaching them. And I think it's a district championship caliber team for Dillard this year. They're getting back to their glory days. They're going to get a big win to start off this week.
I'm picking Plantation that one. That's where you and I are going to differ.
We always got to disagree a little bit.
All right, that wraps it up for week one. We'll see you next week.